And we're ready.
Okay, we will open this meeting of July 17th, 2014. Let the record show that Selectman LaPlante is not present. Happy birthday, Al. Hope you're enjoying your evening. He'll kill us for that one, won't
What is
he?
he, 22?
Yeah, must
Oh,
be.
he's 21,
Okay,
perpetually.
You know
Yeah.
what he's doing.
And Selectman Scanlon is on his way. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3 personnel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay. We don't want it to go to the highway department,
You know where you go use it?
so if you get it, will you,
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to
Give some-
personnel permanently.
Graffiti?
second,
All those in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You have some in mind to
All
use, or
right,
should I? do
Dennis,
some?
do you have a highway report?
I do.
Okay,
Good.
I don't want you to put any graffiti in the
Very
park.
limited, but just a few things.
all
No,
right.
I already got some.
This is gonna pertain to Joe and the whole board, but Joe is addressing what's happening. We're having a problem now, Joe, with our newspaper.
Really?
Getting rid of our newspaper. I found out the container is full now. It's called like I normally do.
And nobody will take it?
Wow. BFI is no longer taking newspaper or cardboard, okay? So, NNRA, okay, has came up with two sources. One is Swartz out of Manchester, and one is OPR out of Wilmington, Mass. So I talked to the individual at NNRA, because Maryland was out today. Manchester's $5 a ton. OPR out of Wilmington, Mass, $37 a ton. But Best Way doesn't go to Mass. Casella won't go to Mass, okay?
We have to find somebody else to haul.
So, if we take our newspaper to Manchester, to Swartz, okay, it's $5 a ton. Usually I have 10 ton, that's $50. What's my trucking cost gonna be to Manchester versus, okay, BFI? I paid $150 to go to BFI, well, it's gonna be more now going to Swartz, so I could end up with, and I'm just giving you an estimate, okay, I might end up with $300 to truck it to Manchester for $50 revenue. Well, that's an offset, okay, and a deficit of $250.
Let's just have a bonfire.
Also, too, okay, if we take the 10 ton and we put it in the burnables, I'm paying $66 a ton, $66.80, and it's cost me $150, okay, to truck it to Pennycook. Now, so what I did is I presented this problem, the OPR and to Swartz, to Jerry, okay, at Casella's, and I said, how much will you give me for the newspaper? He hasn't got back to me yet, but I'm running into a problem, okay, because I gotta get that thing dumped tomorrow. It's full.
Well, have they,
So, excuse me, Kevin, so I think what we should do is pursue what we have talked with Casella about taking those containers out and giving us a 30 out of there and use it as a single stream.
I thought they had already done that.
No, they
And
haven't.
then arranging the time.
Right,
Oh, it was my understanding the time was arranged and it was being done last week.
no.
We gotta empty the stuff that are in the blue containers.
Yeah, but if they brought the container, couldn't you put that in the new one?
Really?
They have not called me confirming that they're gonna bring the 30-yard single-stream container in. I have heard nothing other than the last word that you and I talked.
Okay, well, I'm on the phone to them first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Couldn't you?
Space
thought
put in
this was a
tomorrow
done
if they
deal.
brought it down?
Of
The 30 yard?
well, yeah, I take some of it out and put it in.
So, I mean, that's what I mean, if.
Couldn't you put those
If
the newspapers in the new dumpster?
Yeah, in a month and a half, we could get rid of it all.
Well, if we had the 30-yard single-stream dumpster there,
Right.
then we'd leave the paper in our container until we find a place that we can get rid of it, because we're gonna have the 30-yard
that's
single-stream there
Just
that people
start
can
filling
put
that up.
into. Right. Yeah.
Now, that's a 50-yard trailer.
Huh?
That's a 50-yard trailer, right?
What?
That blue one.
Right now.
Hey,
The newspaper trailer
A
container.
50-yard?
no.
What is
Is
it?
it, Dennis?
10 ton.
How many yards is that?
10 ton would be,
Archie said 50 yards.
no, 50 yards. No,
That's what he said. I don't know.
no.
50 cubic yards go in that container, is what he said.
No way. No way.
Okay.
An 8 by 20, that's what that box trailer is. 8 by 20.
I don't know any different.
Yeah, okay.
8 by 20 by what?
8 by 8 by
8 by
20?
8
8 by
by
8 by
20?
20, that's correct, yes. 8 feet high, 8 wide, 20 long. Yeah. Well, anyways, we've got to jump on that. Okay, Joseph?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. When we find, as everybody knows, we do the maintenance on the police vehicles, okay?
Yep.
When we find that there's damage done to the police vehicles, okay?
We want a report.
Please.
Okay, if there is no report generated, do we,
You generate one.
I can generate a report of what the damage is,
Yes.
and that's as far as I can go.
Right.
Understood. But if we don't know it's damaged, we can't pursue it.
Okay, all right, yep.
So it's just like an overall inspection type report?
So what's damage that we don't know of?
Whether it's fenders, bumpers, doors crushed
Well,
in.
we had a car come in the first of the week that the tire was low. The officer told us, he said the tire was low, and so I went and I inspected the tire, and the rim was dented, and there was a hunk right out of the front tire that had hit a curb.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, no wonder the tire's low, because the cords were showing right on the inside the car, so we had to replace the tire.
How often do those
In the
things get
wheel, too, probably.
inspected? How often do those tires get inspected?
Well, they get inspected once a week if they come to us for service.
But when you
Is
hit
that
a
a normal
curb,
pre-trip that they have to do on the officers as they get the vehicles? I have no one, I
there's
have no
cord
idea.
showing on
I have
that
no
tire,
idea
that's
what their
been
standards
driven
are.
well past its useful life, right?
No, I said the cords were showing on the outside of the tire, Joe, where he had jumped
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
curb,
Yeah.
and dented the rim.
I see, I misunderstood.
The cords were not in
Okay.
the tread, Joe.
Okay.
Right, yes, no, okay. Okay, then we'll start doing that. Okay?
Please.
So basically, same type of thing as if you rented a car. You check for them, walk
Right.
around, put
Yeah,
X,
do an
X, X,
inspection.
X.
They should have to do an inspection, because if they get in a car with a dented fender on the passenger side and don't notice it and come back, like,
it's on
it's
them.
fine when you took it, now it's got a dent, it's your fault.
Yeah, okay.
So they should be doing that anyway.
They have to do a safety check to get in the vehicle
Okay.
before they leave. Yeah.
Okay. Next thing, Kenny is finished on Academy Street with the water. He's 3/4 of the way done on Spruce. We're calling R&D to schedule reclaim and paving of the town roads for this year, okay?
Which are Academy, Spruce, and
Ash.
Ash.
Now, are they paying any portion of the repaving, the water district on the roads that they're putting their line in?
No.
Why would we not share the cost with them? If you weren't going to repave them and they needed to replace those lines,
If I didn't have that road scheduled to repair, to reclaim and pave, and they dug that up, yes, they would pay for the paving and all of that, yes, they would do that.
so why wouldn't they share the cost?
Because it's scheduled to be ground and repaved.
I still don't understand why they wouldn't share the cost. You're saving them money,
We had to
because they're
dig up
not
that
doing
road anyway.
100%.
Huh?
When we did Silver Lake Road, we shared the cost, some of the costs of paving those roads with the sewer. Roads that weren't scheduled by the state, which was, I don't remember, was it Church and River?
Are you talking
Silver
about
Lake Road was the
Pillsbury
only
Street?
one that was scheduled by the
Was she
state
talking about Pillsbury Street
to be redone.
Yeah.
to be grounded?
Virgin River.
So there are some other roads, mostly because of the digging for artifacts again, that had to be totally reclaimed. Total redone instead of just trenched out in the middle. But we shared the cost with the sewer.
Well,
Did they share the cost of Pillsbury Street? No.
That doesn't make it right. That's the same question I asked then, I'm asking now. But I don't think we had a repaving project on Pillsbury Street. That was their project. That was totally their project.
right, and they only did a portion of the road, they didn't do the whole road. They did what they destroyed on Pillsbury.
How about Peabody?
Peabody, no.
That was their project.
No, it wasn't, it was a town project.
I thought when they ran that line in over on
They-
that
they-
pump station,
No, when Peabody Street, when we did that, we knew that we were gonna be excavating, okay? And at that particular time, that's why all the companies, all the divisions try to work together, okay? So if I have work, okay, that I'm scheduling, that's why we went through with the listing, okay, of notifying all of these departments that work is gonna be done, and if you have work to do, give me the scope of your work, okay, so we can coordinate that, so you don't have to rip a new pavement up after the job is complete.
Not only that, but it would be unfair to send them a bill after the fact unless we fully warned them in advance that we expect you to share part of the cost of the repaving.
Now, they did share cost, okay, the sewer department and the water company on Birch Drive, because there was existing pavement there, okay, and they put in a new sewer and they put in a new water line.
no, but that wasn't a paving project for you.
That was not a paving project,
Right.
that is correct, that's right.
But when we're paving, we have to pave a road. It would seem to me that if a utility is going to go in as well, that they would share in some of the costs of that. It's done in other places.
I don't, the thing that bothers me that other towns have that we have not adopted, okay, is when Liberty Gas was in and went to service, okay, we have no ordinance stating, okay, that if we have just put in a new road,
Yep.
you will not cut that road for 4 years.
What is our trenching ordinance?
Trenching ordinance,
We have an ordinance that pertains to cutting into the asphalt.
that you have to report it, okay, and get permission from the town. I
Unless
have to
it was
look at
open,
it
unless
and give
John
them
locked it.
a permit number for trenching.
No,
Oh, you wanted to come in?
No,
no, there's something else.
I haven't seen one,
Yeah.
Jeff, okay? And that's the problem
Want me to
that
call
we
him
run
and tell him
into.
to call?
No, that is a
That
problem.
is a problem.
But if we repave the
Yeah,
road,
patchwork roads.
then we have a catastrophic gas leak or something, and they have to dig it up in 3 months, they have to dig it up.
But they
I
also
have a
have to,
problem with that, Joe, with an emergency. That would be just like water or sewer. That's an emergency. But when somebody wants to be supplied, okay, gas for their home, to cut in a new pavement that has just been done,
So how can we tell a resident they can't have gas for 4 years?
trenching and
We don't
digging.
want you to cut open the asphalt. That
other
seems
towns,
kind of,
other towns do. You know, we could notify, we could put out a notification that these are roads, okay, just like we did in the town report this year of roads that are gonna be done.
I'll invite them up.
You know, if you want,
seems like the town people should have to vote on that,
on what?
on that cutting open of the.
No, that's a selectman's
Yeah,
ordinance.
that's right.
I have a question for you.
I would-
There's a lot of conversation that's going on because the bill is generated for the dispenser that was vandalized in the park. And they're looking to see if old ones from previous purveyors would work and that kind of thing. I'm more concerned with the fact that there's going to be a delay because you've got to order it.
For what?
Do we have,
Kathy,
is
can
the,
you speak up? I can't hear
Yeah, I
you.
couldn't hear that.
we had some vandalism in the park. It was the hand towel dispenser, right? Or was it toilet paper dispenser?
Toilet paper dispenser, they got kicked and blown.
Second one?
Second one, okay, within 2 weeks.
So my question is, it occurred to me, we don't have a backup?
No, I don't stockpile it. No,
Is it the same one all over town?
I had to take your seat.
yes.
We just got brand-new ones to replace the old ones.
No, we've gone through, what, 2?
2. But this time, and I'm quite sure that the Parks Commission will be upset, but I'm going to order 2. Have one on hand.
Thank you, that was my
Because I
question.
know that it will happen again.
Yeah,
Don't they
that's-
supply those
We're on the
to us
same
for no
wavelength,
charge?
$18 I do.
absolutely same wavelength.
Do they only take one kind of paper towel? Or do
Toilet paper, toilet paper.
These are toilet
they
paper.
take one brand of toilet paper?
No, you probably could put different types.
No, I take with the rolls, normal rolls,
Okay.
not those big,
I was gonna say.
Skinny rolls.
See, you have to buy a certain brand of toilet paper.
What is it with Riverfront Park and toilet paper? I don't get it. What is it?
they pulled it all out, and made wad balls with it, and threw them all over the place. In the bathroom, all over the place. Tim is downloading the data from the camera right now, so next week I'll be spending some time looking at
Joe, will
the
you stay out of
data.
Riverfront Park?
Stop
I live
vandalizing.
there. I live there. I gotta live it down, don't I?
That's all right.
So we should be able to find out who did it, I think, considering the,
Two things to
Also, the
Area.
aluminum pipes that were there
Not right
first when the park was built, we do have them. They will take the same toilet paper, Joe, okay, that we have now, but the locks are all broke, and the back of them have to be repaired. So we're gonna get them, and we're gonna repair them, so now,
last night.
we're gonna have 3 on hand, okay?
that's it, thank you.
All right.
I knew
You
you'd
can
be
make 2
covered.
into 1 and
All kinds of
Hopefully,
scans.
yeah.
guys are really.
Probably get sued when they hurt their foot on the metal
Yeah,
They cut their foot, Joe?
Kick it.
That's right. That's
Bad one.
thank you, Dennis.
They couldn't even operate because this garage, I guess, is so. They didn't even know if they're gonna be able to move them to head south.
That's all I have.
It's in rehab.
All right.
We do have a trenching and digging ordinance, but I can't bring it up. 1980,
Health south now.
looks like.
I'll show you. I'll give you.
And it's kind of
Oh, is it a joke? Why don't you propose one?
It's more of a documentation from.
Sometimes he does and sometimes
Cut, what time they cut.
Who has one that we can copy?
it's all the sirens.
I don't know if Joyce has it. I'll have to look.
Will you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, you sit right back down there because we're going to be talking about the Tilton School and we'd like your input in this so you.
Well, I don't have to sit here.
You can't go
I
home
I
and.
have a question. I still have a question.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Mr. Allen.
Selectman Jessamine still has a
I
question.
have 2 questions.
Look,
Number
you said one.
Yeah, and I lied. Number 1, is that 1,000 yards of dirt over in Ernie's?
It is not.
I didn't think that could be.
That is
What happened?
288 yards.
So what happened to the 1,000 yards? You just didn't have that much.
There was a little bit of miscommunication.
Okay,
there,
all right,
Okay?
all right, good enough. The second thing is Island Park.
Yeah,
Island Park.
okay. Riverfront.
The island.
No, the
island.
other island park
okay,
down
okay.
here, the island.
Yes.
In the island, on the island, we're having a wedding this weekend as well as a concert. And I was just wondering if any maintenance had been done in the park with regard to animal feces.
Ugh.
Has not. Has not.
And will not?
Where's the chief? Chief?
Right here.
Can we do something about putting something there so we can catch the people that are bringing their dogs on the island?
We'll take care of it tomorrow.
Thank you. right.
Is there any chance of, no?
We'll find out who they are.
But I'm talking about the 100 piles that are out there now.
Well, oh
We had a
well,
good downpour.
Oh, well.
oh well, I think we should ban dogs from the park. Then there won't be a
I think that was
problem.
our last discussion.
It never went anywhere.
It never went nowhere. So the park rules say that you can
Have a dog,
have a dog there.
yep.
So how's the chief gonna,
But the park says,
You have to
the
pick
ordinance
up
says that you have to pick up after your dog. If you don't pick up after your dog, it's a $250 fine?
Well, how are they gonna catch them?
yeah, how they gonna
Oh,
catch
Dog food
It's
police?
squat.
him? You know?
watch how we catch them.
Game cameras.
Watch how we catch them.
You're on that, right, Lieutenant? Captain? is.
I know, but it's the Northfield side of that.
Some of it is, some of it is.
Believe me, I was just there Sunday night. It is a lot on the Tilton side.
All Chief Rafley.
Big piles.
The squat squad.
Here we go, removal, dog defecation. Hold on, it's coming up. Penalty is $25 for the first offense and $50 for the second offense.
Thank you.
Any subsequent offense will be marked,
to
must
appoint
appear,
somebody
and will be determined at court, not including any penalty assessment assigned by the court.
We should change the fines. First offense, $250. If you don't pick up after your dog, shame on you.
I think we should put stocks out there and put them in it.
Is there any place to post this out there on the island? Like put it in plastic, get it,
You could put it on.
Oh, yeah, sure, that'll work with that, that'll work.
Then they'll rip it off, he'll throw it in the river.
Red, okay, on
Yeah, yes. They'll probably use it to wipe their dog, well, no.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
I think the chief has a solution for us.
Oh, really?
Yep. We're gonna,
Okay, good enough.
he's gonna take care of it.
I'll let the bride know tomorrow when we
What's the
walk
solution?
around the dog turtle.
Tell him to bring a rake.
Put some stuff. See what we
some stuff?
He's good.
What?
That's, we have to appoint the squat squad.
Okay, chief, you wanna come up and, with us, and we'll talk about the Tilton School and, Parky, Pillsbury Street and Prospect. All right, so what's up?
Well, I've actually spoken with everybody here, because I wanted to get kind of a sense of everyone's ideas, what they think, what they see, and kind of get a idea of what the amount of traffic and parking might be up there, so that we can forecast what we might need. Some of the roads up there are pretty tight, like Dennis and I talked about. They're only 20 feet wide, so two 10-foot lanes. So in many places, if you allow parking on either side, you won't have enough for two-way traffic. The other considerations, to me, that jumps right out always is fire trucks. You gotta make sure that fire trucks and ambulances can get in and out of there. And so, we had quite a bit of this type of activity in Plymouth. We always found that the best way to do it was, control the traffic coming in, give them dedicated places to park, and then control the traffic coming back out again. And so, the more dedicated places we can give them to park when they come up School Street, the better. If we don't do that, we just let them down Greenlands and do it shy of signs, then we could end up with cars all over the place. Sometimes people don't realize fire trucks have to get down the street, so without disregard for public safety, they just sometimes park in a place that now a fire truck can't get through. So we want to eliminate those possibilities and options. But talking to everyone here, it kind of seemed like signing everything was the last resort. If we can give them a place to park, and then once the game is over, get them right back out again in the way that least impacts the neighborhood, that might be the best option. So certainly they're here to speak to it as well.
How are we going to,
Talked at length today. I've talked with him quite a bit, and Peter, and so I think they all landed with the same feeling.
how are we going to keep the traffic from heading west and going down Prospect? They should be funneled out to School Street.
Yeah, I know in some of the places I've worked where we had similar fields, a half hour before the game ends, we set up basically roadblocks or traffic diversions so that when they come out, they can only go one direction and just not give them that choice.
We designed most of the bus parking, spectator parking before the south turn into campus, which is what we use now for our athletic teams. Right now, athletic teams come up School Street, and if they're in a coach bus, they go up Pillsbury, take a left, come behind the boys, and then there's a turn down into campus right there. So that's the way that we want all the traffic flow to continue
That would be behind the gym?
behind the gym.
Okay.
That's the way that we designed it. One of the bus parking lots is beyond the turnoff. So we want to not only provide directions to all the bus drivers who come, but also post a sign that says, "Do not proceed straight," primarily because that left-hand downhill turn in a bus is disastrous.
Right. Too sharp.
So we're going to educate, we're actually not so much worried about the bus drivers and our parents. A, because we're a boarding school, and the majority of our parents aren't there. But B, it's going to be the visiting parents that we're most worried about. So we're hoping to do education and signage. I would love to have a roadblock turning everyone down, but the residents use Pillsbury Street on a regular basis to get to their homes. So I don't know if a roadblock is feasible.
Well, this is during the event, it's mostly going to be a problem with them leaving the event. Not so much arriving to it, but leaving the event. People will soon learn the shortcuts to get out of the flow of traffic. And that's a direct line down to the light on Park Street, which is a direct line to the 93, which they'll learn quickly.
The majority of our parking, we have 26 spaces at the peak. That's it. The majority of the parking is over at the ice hockey.
That's correct. And you also have parking in front of the dormitories, which would take 25 people, which Fred had mentioned to me today. Plus you have a large area in front of the ice arena. Plus you're only going to be accommodating one event, not four, like you do on Sergeant
On the
Street.
Northfield, Sergeant Street.
That's correct, yes. Right.
Yeah, if you have a parking plan where you take those areas and you say, okay, we're gonna fill up ice rink first, this here area, second, this way, third. As long as everyone's on the same page, sort of directing the people, and you know, like, all right, the ice rink, we'll shut it off now.
Right, right. But you must have some kind of an idea of facilities that you have run before. How many spectators would you have at a football?
We don't have, I can't give you an exact number in my head, but it is not like a football game held by Winnisquam or Franklin, because half of our parents are here.
Well, and the visitors,
You also have parking behind the gymnasium where you park your buses now.
And those buses aren't there
Right.
during normal game times.
Right.
what are the schools that you normally play?
So we play schools from New York to Maine.
Exactly.
Our local schools are Holderness in Plymouth, Brewster, Proctor over in North Andover. Those are the local ones. Most of them are more than an hour away.
Yeah, so those local ones are the ones that probably generate the most audience, visitors.
And those would be the ones, and those are boarding schools.
Yes, they are. But a lot of those are
I don't want
local.
to minimize the number of partners. I think we have to have a flow. I think we have a good idea of flow. I also think that we've talked, I know Fred has talked to you about some physical structures, rocks, boulders in that area, which can prevent people from parking. I personally would like to avoid lots of signage because it doesn't look good. But at the same time, I want to be sensitive to the needs of the residents in making sure it's clear.
I mean, one of the kind of things about, and I agree with him, is the signs are too close to the road during the snow season, the plow plays, hit them. So, he needs to have them back far enough. And can't be nice, we don't want to like litter your front lawn with signs either. So I mean, if there's options to avoid all the extra signs,
Yeah, and just in speaking for the neighborhood, if I may, a little bit of background, we've met with Mr. Saliba twice at previous meetings, an initial meeting, just kind of rolled out the plans, and then just recently, in the last 3 weeks ago, we met at the field and in the neighborhood discussed signage. They don't mind putting signs on their front lawn, and I think it was an impromptu meeting, and it was kind of shooting from the hip of, we just don't want traffic in the neighborhood, so whatever we need to do to make sure that it doesn't cause problems. So they're willing to put signage there. However, I think it's safe to say that the general feeling of the neighborhood is to just control the traffic.
Which neighborhood is
I
that?
live on the corner of Chestnut Street and Daniel Drive, and it's basically kind of wrapping around over to Prospect, Daniel Drive. The residents, we've all kind of chatted, all the way over to the top at 52 Prospect Street in Summers.
So we were trying to funnel the traffic towards School Street.
Exactly. Or, and I would respect, the Prospect Street neighborhood also. Most certainly, if we could funnel the traffic to School Street onto the state road, it would be much better, less of an impact. We think of all kinds of different things of, that's why we all bought and built up there, is because if a car goes by, they are either lost, being chased by the police, or and seldom, I say that facetiously about being chased by the police. But, we had a ranch at our house, and we went up. We spent another $200,000 to go up on our house and expand because we wanted to stay in that neighborhood because it is so quiet. We all stand in the street, talk, everybody's got dogs. It's a great neighborhood. Now, when you add that traffic impact, it makes it a different neighborhood. And, Peter's heard our concerns. I talked to Catherine the other night. My tune has changed since the other night, by the way.
I got your email.
I met with Mr. Saliba today. I thought that was the best way to handle it, and Chief Bowman was the voice of reason yesterday, whether he knew it or not, and that's what settled me down. I guess what I'm interested in is when Mr. Saliba's not the headmaster in 25 years, and
25 years ago.
And I've moved on to my retirement home, I want to make sure that we preserve the neighborhood, to make sure that stays a small, quaint Tilton neighborhood, and that, if it's just behavior modification now, and we just get into a regular regimen of no traffic and no parked cars, then I think we've accomplished our goal. And have all the confidence in Chief Cormier and Dennis that they can handle that. We've been begging for speed bumps for 10 years, and I get it. If you put speed bumps on Chestnut and Prospect, everybody in town's gonna want them. I get it.
Well, things like noise, traffic and whatnot is the selectmen. So it doesn't have to go back to planning. So the minute there's a problem with noise or traffic, it can come straight here.
The one question I have, and then really I don't think I really have anything else to say, is do you think that there's a need to put this in writing? So it just says that the relationship between the town and the Tilton School is maintained to the point of full respect for the neighborhood, and it addresses noise, traffic, and other things. And I had it in a text message that I read to Peter today, and it was basically just respecting the neighborhood. And I mean, we could squawk, and we could come to a selectmen's meeting, and we could call the police chief and say, hey, traffic counts up. We don't want to have to do that. I would hate to see it come to that. I think the school and the police department can most certainly take care of that.
I suspect when Mr. Slevas is headmaster of the school, there's not going to be a lot of problem if the neighbors complain about noise or lights or et cetera and traffic, that we'll be able to mediate it in the future. That may be a problem with a new headmaster. We've had some in the past that were not very cooperative. It was a very bad relationship.
We have an open
And
dialogue right now.
I think you and I remember that.
I'm very open to putting something in writing and having an understanding in that piece. My only concern would be how to capture the idea in the writing. So if someone else was to write it and suggest it, and I just have to sign it, great.
I suspect
Are you talking attorney fees?
I suspect our existing ordinances are going to cover anything we might put in writing, and the relationship that we have right now is just going to
It goes without
be
saying,
the
right?
bonus.
And that's why I asked that question, is if you think it's frivolous to come up with, writing or I think an MOU is overboard, but I really am concerned about, the future of it, and, at some point, there'll be other people in office. But some of the words that I wrote in a text message here that I saved, I'd like to see some language that shows dedication to parking and traffic flow. Even something loose like Tilton School will ensure traffic signage and traffic patterns will demonstrate the fullest respect and wishes of the residents in the immediate area, or something to that effect. But it's non-binding, I get it. It's not worth paying attorney's fees. It's a little bit more than a handshake, basically.
Can I ask a question? We came into a memorandum of understanding in the planning board. Is it too late to add a paragraph?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Because it's a hearing, that's a matter of, that's a hearing that you went to. This is the selectmen's meeting, you're at the governing body.
So
It's a handshake here or something written.
could I then, so alternatively, could I write a letter to Butters Plus? I don't know how to Butters Plus and saying, we're putting in a new field, this has been approved by the town, etc. We want to make sure that we uphold the relationship that we've had with the neighborhood and move forward in compliance with all the ordinances in the town. If you have any problems, please don't hesitate to let me know right away. As a just sort of letter, on the school letterhead from me, so that in the future, if there are problems, the resident could go to the guy who places me and say, hey, I don't know if that is,
Well,
I don't know if that's satisfying.
Yeah, to me, I don't know how you could do anything other than that. I think the depth of an MOU is probably a little bit too much. The other thing that does is it establishes a decent, strong rapport with the neighborhood, more than just the folks that have met with you. It lets them know that you have vested interest in making sure that it stays safe and traffic patterns stay. It will probably
Good PR.
It's not going to hurt. It will settle the neighborhood down.
and if you make that in the form of a statement, that's going to be recorded in our minutes here, so that's a pledge to the town as a whole. And then when they call us, we're going to call you and we're going to meet and say, how do we fix this?
My only suggestion would be to write it in the form of that the Tilton School pledges, not that Peter Saliba
Absolutely.
pledges. Because if you say, because then it's gloves off if somebody else takes they could say, well, he committed to that, I'm not committed to that, right?
I think that there will, just by the nature of having a facility there, that there will be a change.
Oh, there is going to be a change.
Matter
no
change.
question.
I think we can, I think the way to address issues that come up is doing exactly what we've done. Is let's talk about it, figure out what the problem is and so on. I mean, we're committed to making this an asset, not only for the school, but for the neighborhood too.
I'd rather see it what you have than 10 houses.
Absolutely.
I know the tax base doesn't want to see that, but.
No, we'd rather see the field.
Yeah,
At this point-
It's a huge improvement to our neighborhood, and when they purchase the big apartment house on the corner, that'll be.
You're the fifth person to strong arm me into that. I would love to purchase that. We can do it right now, but down the road,
No, it
Have the
would be,
house off the tax rolls, that I'm not happy about.
Take our house off the tax rolls, that's right.
You just switched the atmosphere in here a little bit when you said take it off the tax roll. We won't go there a little bit. Let's not. Catherine, that just, we lost Catherine for a few seconds there.
No, I get it, I really do, and, I've changed my tune in the last day or so, and I think that we can work through this, I don't think, and I think just letting the neighborhood know that we're going to work through it makes a big difference.
So where are you suggesting speed bumps?
The top of Prospect Street. If you sit
Just as you
along
make
there,
the
top of
corner.
Prospect Street, unless they're turning right onto Pillsbury, if they're coming up over and going to continue on to Daniel, you can hear them coming.
Yep.
My wife's one of them. And if she's a season ticketer, it's just an easy road to fly up.
To go up the hill fast.
Yeah, up the hill and down for that matter. The sign works because it slows me down, but.
Believe it or not, we find when we do radar, people like to go faster up the hill than down. In the perfect example is where
Oh,
faster up the hill.
by the time they get up to the top, yeah, it's unbelievable.
We're in favor of speed bumps at the school because it's a $2 million problem for me if someone comes up that hill, goes off the ledge, and onto the field. The field has to be totally replaced. So the idea of having speed bumps, we'd be excited.
Would you put one further down on Prospect? Down by the telephone building or somewhere in the middle of the hill?
Yeah,
Because
down
it
by the
seemed to me
telephone.
you'd stop them
Just before you get to the
just before the
telephone.
top, but they're gonna start picking up speed before they get there.
You're just
Yeah, I
cruising
usually-
down, you're on the brakes.
4 or 7 days, and I actually pulled the numbers before I came down. I didn't see anything, we had the trailer halfway, and I didn't see anything crazy there, but a speed there is different than a speed making the corner. So like 35 going by Jerry's house isn't as bad as 35 taking the corner.
I don't know how they could.
The school's issue and speed, they're two separate issues. Because when folks drive by in through our neighborhood, you can tell when they're from the Tilton School. They're driving slow, they wave, and their cars are coming. You know, it's a different...
What's that you're saying, sir?
It's a different, Lexus cars don't typically drive through our neighborhood.
Right.
And you can tell when it's parents' weekend, you know,
Right.
they're very respectful, they're driving slow.
Right.
It's just, you know.
But this is going to increase the amount, people are gonna come to watch the game, so you know you're gonna have parking everywhere. I have no idea where you're gonna fit everyone. It's gonna remain to be seen how you can fit everyone in spaces that you have available on campus, particularly if you end up in championships, as you have in the past with other sports. So,
How do you do with handicap parking?
One for every 25.
In the parking lot at the field, we've got
Yeah, actually, you showed that on your plan.
so, yeah, I mean, it's gonna increase no matter what, and they loop around Daniel and High Street Extension and come down and go down Prospect. Some of them skip over Pillsbury and go School Street, and that's the natural. Now you add onto that, you know, more traffic during the 5 to 7 p.m. to get to the game, and then 9 to 11 p.m. after the game.
Believe it or not, when the Pine Street Bridge was being repaired, we noticed a huge difference in traffic, for whatever reason. It was odd.
Going way down.
No, it increased.
It increased, yeah.
For what, it doesn't make any sense, because the Pine Street Bridge is closer to our house, to the top of Chestnut. But for some reason, the traffic increased. It didn't make any sense to me, but you can tell when there's events going on. As soon, honestly, when the traffic increases, I either open my pager to see if there's a car accident, or I look at the CAD system to see what's going on, because it's usually something funky in downtown or whatever. You can tell when there's parades, you know, all those things. So.
What's the procedure for when everybody's leaving? Do they put a detail down at the intersection right out here? Or everybody just lines up?
We've had, well, so far, all of our athletic contests during the fall and spring have been on the Sergeant Street property down in Brookfield. So we've never had to have any details or anything, with the exception of commencement, where we have the detail, but they're at the top of the hill, well, not the top, but it's School Street off the
Right.
campus.
Halfway up.
Everyone just manages the traffic circle here, or they go down to the lane.
Yeah, so they would, because that's one of the things is that everybody's happy with going one direction, not seeking other ways if they can flow through. But if they start getting lines back and they learn, okay, we're going to try another way, and then they'll be fast.
Winter Street to Prospect Street, or even to School Street, from what time? 2:30 to 3:30. It's a cutoff. That whole neighborhood, we've already had this discussion about one-way traffic and parking and sidewalks. That whole neighborhood becomes a cutoff. People kind of zigzag and race to see who can make it to School Street first. You know, it's temporary signage, just for some behavior modification type thing, instead of planting signs in the ground.
So put cones.
Cones, horses, you know, no, this is not a through street, you know, redirecting them to where parking is.
Did you decide to redirect during a game and not down Pillsbury?
I was just gonna ask
What
the
it-
chief that, so, just to inventory what we've talked about, the speed bump, you think that's a good idea? At the top of the hill?
At the top of his street,
At the top of Daniel Drive?
at the
A
Top of Prospect.
going into Daniel?
Yeah, right there.
And you recommended some kind of barricade to keep those leaving the event
Not,
from going down School Street, so a temporary,
Wooden or plastic barricades
Okay.
and basically shoot them right back up School Street.
okay.
not from not going down School Street, but not going down
I mean,
Prospect.
Prospect, I'm sorry. I was thinking, I had School Street coming up, because the next
So
thing
they would come down,
is some
they
kind of
would come out of the
signage.
parking lot. Is any of the excess going over by the gym in that parking lot?
Yes, if you come out the parking lot of the new field,
Yeah,
and you go west,
yeah,
Pillsbury, 20
and,
feet up, there's a left down to the gym,
okay.
and that puts...
That's going to put into the parking as well,
That's gonna put...
where the school buses park?
In through yes, school buses park, and then through campus, and then out to schools.
Okay,
I mean, the volume of traffic that I think has the potential to go down Prospect Street is 26 cars.
Yeah.
That's where I mean, that's allowable parking.
But that's a lot of cars in that neighborhood for one evening and that block of
I
time.
wouldn't want to funnel all the traffic down School Street. They're going to be balling up here to get around this circle when, you know, they're going right down over Prospect. They got a stop sign at the bottom of the hill.
And then a light.
Stoplight.
We don't need extra traffic over our roads. Let's send them over the numbered state route. They can learn to take a right on Academy
I think it's
Street
going
and
to
pick
be
up the
more than
light.
26. I think people that are going to go to the games, people that are going to, they're particularly
drop
new,
off.
they're going to see this turf field, they're going to want to see, it's outdoor, it's new, exciting. People love that aren't involved in Tilton School, but love to go to see the sports of Tilton. They love to go to see the games. And, you know,
How do you feel about revisiting this after this football season? I mean, we could talk honestly till 8 o'clock tonight.
Yes.
But the telltale is going to be after this first football.
We're going to be meeting
I
during
think-
this.
yeah.
So
It's probably the best.
you've got speed bumps, barricades after the games. What about signage? I assume you're going to put a sign up to direct people to the field on the corner of your property there, off of School Street. Are you going to put signs along your property and off of our right-of-way that say no parking along School Street? I mean,
Double check with Brent.
Daniel Drive there?
We don't really have something like that. You're talking Pillsbury.
Pillsbury, I'm sorry.
Brandon indicated to me that there would be signs up of parking, where designated parking for the event. Like, you know, you'd be a sign pointing to where there's... Prospect.
Pillsbury School.
Behind the gymnasium, there's parking, there's parking on the, in between the dormitories, there's parking. There was going to be signage for people to know where to park.
And there is now.
Yes.
And they increase it during special events too.
Any communication, like if you know, sorry, communicating with us, to say, hey, I think this one's bigger than normal.
Yeah,
We might need some-
that'd be huge.
That was the other thing that the neighbors had all requested, I should say, is that if you know you're going to have a large event, that there's some type of notification. I mean, listen, we have all kinds of notification systems.
Well, we have that system too here at Tilton
Tilton
Alert,
Alert.
that it goes right out to all the residents, and you can get, you know.
Well, they have to subscribe to it, right?
Yeah, they just have to go on and subscribe to it, the residents, and all the major events,
Give an email.
Yeah,
chief puts it on.
I was gonna get all the emails of the abutters in the neighborhood saying, hey, listen, this is Parents' Weekend. We're
Yeah.
having 3 games, driving field hockey, soccer, football. Heads up. And the game schedule is on our website.
Yeah,
Did
that'd
you
be
get
good.
all those, well, before we, did you get all those? What does the Board of Selectmen feel about those
That's fine. I
speed
think
bumps
that-
and signage and, Barricades.
Year-round, or are these the summer
No, we have to
speed
take
bump?
them up for plowing. You have to take the speed bumps up for plowing, don't you?
I would hope so.
You just can't lift your plow.
We wouldn't have to. No.
Should have never paved Daniel Drive, it had natural speed They did, it was nice.
We have them on Academy. One, right?
And it works.
They're Dennis's favorite too.
Nope,
Only once.
Only once.
no.
Oh, it's on the other side of the cat.
Yeah.
I've driven.
Yes.
And how are the neighbors with the speed bumps?
Yeah, all-
Everybody's 100% in favor? of these?
On Daniel Drive, they're in favor.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Chestnut, Daniel, well, I've already had this discussion with
Yeah.
Dennis. I thought
People with children love them.
Dennis is not in favor of
Yeah,
it.
Dennis is the only guy that's not.
And pets.
Well, you know what we say about Dennis.
I'm in favor of it. And while you're at it, put one on
The
Cedar
quorum
Street, too.
prevents me from saying it now, but
Oh, we should put one in front of my house.
Now, that would be great.
That would be fine.
I'd serve popcorn.
You wouldn't have to,
These
you'd
are
be
two
popping
separate items,
the
though,
cars
we're
in.
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah,
about.
it's kind of off track now. It's-
Yep. All right.
But I
well,
like the idea of coming back and, or
We'll be back in
if
touch.
you request to come back and revisit.
Oh, we will.
We'll be
You'll know your
back.
numbers and, you know, it's gonna take a couple of events.
Work on it.
It's a work in progress.
So what we agreed, just so that I'm clear for what I have to do, is I'll send a letter on Tilton School stationery to the abutters and neighbors. I'll get that list, maybe you can help me with it.
Will you CC the town?
Yes, absolutely. And we will continue to work together on making sure whatever we put in there is good for your guidelines and for our guidelines and for the neighborhood. And we'll talk about patterns and control and all those pieces. We will continue to notify the neighbors if there's a special, large anticipated event that happens. And after the first season, why don't maybe we have another meeting with the neighbors and just say, how's it going, what's going on? And if we have to modify, we can first try to modify without coming to the selectmen. But if there's a problem, that's not good. Please go ahead.
Sounds wonderful.
Thank you very
Did you get it all, Joyce?
Very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. And by the way, thank you for your donation of the loam as
Yeah.
well to the
Yeah,
conservation area. Want to make it public. Thank you, Tilton School.
Yeah, no,
Thank you,
that's a
Kevin.
lot of fun. That's going to improve the town.
oh yeah, absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry our fill didn't meet specs.
No, they told me 1,000 yards, I said, that doesn't look, I'm not a construction guy, but that doesn't look like 1,000 yards.
All was good, but my fill's not that good.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me?
Do these have to
Okay, stop by once.
customarily?
Joyce, you ready? or-
No, I'm ready.
I don't even understand.
I think they should be, but they're not usually. Okay, I don't eat chocolate, but I'm eating chocolate. I'm not eating chocolate. Go away. I should have brought grapes.
There you go.
Things to give the chief. This is the Town of Tilton Highway Policies and Regulations, uniformed police requirements. And I neglected to add an amendment that the selectmen had made back in August of 2013. So I have added it. The selectmen have signed it. I need you to sign it, and I'll have Cindy sign it, and then we can record it, and I'll distribute it. This way, it won't- I guess this was something that you and Catherine had worked on, and the board had discussed it. This is that, and we added that the sewer, town and sewer is in. So, but it never went through the final process of. So,
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
And the next one, as you know, we had filed the petition to modify our collective bargaining agreement to add those two positions. So, the union signed it, the town signed it, was sent to, no, you don't need a signature. What you need to do is you need to post this. You have to post this notice. I will do the same here at the town hall. And as soon as you post that, if you or Lisa could, well, no, you can go ahead and sign this one. You can sign that and that back. Wait, you can post it, just that, and then I'll do the same here at the town hall. So as soon as you send me just this, then I have to send this all to the And then what it is then the union, and anybody, this is their notice, if they have any questions or issues with it, to let us know. And then after that, I don't know how long it takes them, how long.
That's the classifications. It's a-
Communication specialist.
Yes.
Prosecutor, patrolman.
Right. Yep.
Has to be posted where the collective bargaining unit employees work, so the police station, and then we'll put it here at the town hall. And we're to let Peter know if anybody has any questions. I just was looking to see how long it will take the PELRB to act on this, and it does not say. This is just just to follow.
Everybody knows about it due to the contract.
Yeah. It's just a protocol for filing it with the PELRB.
And also, Chief, you were at the meeting, staff meeting, where the board has put out a final RFP to rehab the Cannon Bridge. Were you there when we announced that?
No, I do know.
Okay. The bids are due back on July 28th. I know Catherine and we might still be at the court then, but if who's ever selectmen are available, just, all they're going to do over there is just open the bids, announce them. It's not even a selectmen's meeting over there. They just delegated that to...
On the 28th?
On the 28th at 2
I
o'clock.
had marked it already.
And they're requesting 2 copies of the bids. So you can just leave there with our copies. And then Glenn and I are trying to coordinate with you, Pat, and he's trying to coordinate with Wayne, is it that...
At the Northfield Town Hall.
Yes, at the Northfield Town Hall. If on that Thursday, the 31st meeting, that tentatively we're trying to schedule that as a night that the Northfield Selectmen will come over here to review the bids.
At 4:30?
Well, you tell me what time.
4:30.
4:30. All right, so just pencil that in.
Well, that's already a meeting,
It's already a Selectmen's meeting night.
right?
Yeah.
When did you say at 2:30? On the 28th, Joe?
2.
Oh, 2. All right.
For sure, 2 o'clock, July 28th.
All righty.
Is that the first day that we're going to be in court?
Yes, Monday and Tuesday. And I don't know if did you get an opportunity to read that the first thing they want to do is do a site visit?
I wondered if we were going to, he comes up from Concord. Are we all going to meet there?
I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
We will find out.
Okay, because I have meetings with the school, middle school, for starting their inspection again. So I'm going to put it in these dates so I don't... All right, 28th and 29th, court. Yay.
So that's all.
Why me?
The Right to Know workshop, they gave us some dates that could be morning, afternoon, evening. I got some feedback from Peter and from John that evening would be more suitable for people. So, the planning board meets downstairs, and so does Parks Commission, so it wouldn't be a problem on Monday or Tuesday, the 8th, the 9th, the 15th, or the 16th. If we were to move it out a little later, that will give them more time to advertise it. I would hope that we would get a good turnout. So, you want me to suggest either the 15th or the 16th?
What days of the week are they?
Monday and a Tuesday.
15th and 16th.
I have planning board. That's a planning board
15th
night.
and 16th of August?
September.
Yeah, it's Monday and Tuesday. It's the third Tuesday in September.
It is
It's the 3rd.
is,
Second and
is the 1st on a Tuesday
The
again?
2nd is on a Tuesday, the 9th is on a Tuesday, and the 16th is on a Tuesday.
Then I'm all set, because it's 2nd and 4th Tuesday for planning.
Exactly.
Okay, so the evening of the 16th. And hopefully it'll be cool then.
Did they say around what time? 10
No, they said either morning, afternoon, or evening. It's 2 to 3 hours in length, and the time is really up to us. We want to hold it in September, and these were the dates they had in mind and which works best for
So our
us.
first choice would be the 16th. What, we're going to give them a second choice?
Sure.
Monday night, the 15th.
15th?
I think
And then
we get Conservation Commission downstairs, but...
the 15th.
But the,
The third Monday.
The third Monday?
yeah,
Third Monday.
What was the other date?
Maybe
We've
come,
alternates.
maybe come to
Third
the right to
Tuesday for
know.
the sewer.
The other days were Thursday, September 11th, when you have a selectmen's meeting. If you wanted to do it that night. And then Tuesday, the 9th, or Monday, the 8th. Tuesday, the 9th, you have,
Monday, the 8th, is anybody?
Is that the second Monday or the first?
Second.
second Monday.
it's Park
I
Commission.
have Park Commission.
Maybe they want to come to the right to know.
No, it's too much going on.
The 9th.
Cameras.
And the 9th is, what, primary elections?
Yep.
Ah, that's right, scratch that.
So it's
You're gonna be-
looking,
Except the elections are during the day.
Right.
No,
but do
till,
they come back?
Till 6 or 7.
And then you have to go
7.
around and clean up and,
And everybody else attending and voting?
But we
and-
do that at the school.
Yeah.
So
I
if you're
see.
having a meeting up here that night, it isn't going to matter.
if we're at the school and they're having a meeting here, wouldn't you like to attend here?
Well, we don't need everybody to be at the school at
That's
the
right.
end.
And I think,
No, the selectmen need to be, they're supposed to be there for the counting.
All of them.
No, but a majority.
and if they're going to hold an event, it's other people...
We should host it.
Yeah, if they're going to hold an event like that, we should do it on a date that other people
I
can
agree,
attend.
and I agree.
It's 15th.
We've never had a majority of
said
selectmen
the
in the time
15th
I've
was
been there, I don't
Parks
think.
Commission, right?
The second Monday,
That's the 8th.
Second Monday's 8th, and the Monday, the 15th is okay then.
No, that's conservation.
Oh, conservation.
Conservation, but, I mean, I could get an alternate.
So let's do the second one, the 15th.
Okay,
And if, we can work it out.
okay.
All right. On to the next.
All right, the next thing is on the 8th, which is Lauren's next contract day. She will have our 2014 database.
It's in August.
Yep.
Okay.
So since she's here, she wanted to know if you wanted to meet with her
The 7th?
on the 7th. The manual is not done and the utilities are not finalized, so the update is not complete. So she can meet with you on the 7th and report and answer any of your questions, or wait until it's complete and come back and meet with the board.
If she's going to charge us twice, then I would say wait for the completed report.
I don't think she would charge us twice. It's all part of the contract.
Okay.
So you want to wait until it's complete?
Yep.
Okay. But at least we'll have our data so that we can go back to making changes ourselves instead of sending them to her to make the changes. So we're moving forward. The school, Tilton School loan, I think it was Dennis that had said it was 1,000 yards. Is Dennis still here?
Originally,
He had
but
said
apparently
1,000.
there was a fill loam component thing, and we
Okay.
got the loam, not the
200.
fill.
some odd yards is what he hauled.
288. He figured it was 6 yards, a dump truck, and there were 70-some loads, and he did his math, and it worked out to 288. So it's all stored on Salmon Run. Now, there may be a question with,
There's none on Salmon Run.
Yes, it is.
yeah, it is.
That's Salmon Run?
Because originally, Concom...
It's on that side of the river. How far down does Ernie's go?
About at the end of where that loam is.
Okay.
That culvert brook crossing is totally on Salmon Run. It's not a boundary.
I thought that was the boundary.
So at the time, we were investigating it, and we were really close to the wire, because it had to be done by the 17th. And so Chuck was looking at the loam for all of Salmon Run, and we were looking at the fill for Ernie's, because it didn't look like there was enough fill, unless, enough loam, unless we want to go over onto their back 40, where they had dumped some loam, but it was just too difficult. It would be too difficult to get trucks in there to try and get it out. But so Chuck was going to talk to to someone like Kenny Partridge, to check and see what it would cost to screen the loam up near the site, near the work site. And so time was running out, and I came to the selectmen, and I said to the selectmen, what do you want to do? And they said, hey, take whatever you can get. So we made arrangements immediately. Rip came up, and I was going to take soil samples, but he looked at it and he said, no, that's fine. We'll still have to buy some topsoil to go over it, but he said, yeah, take it. So we took it and we worked it out with Chuck where it was going to be put, and the highway department purchased the silt fencing and the stakes and erected it, but all that can be charged against the Ernie's grant.
But it's my understanding that they needed 300 yards for Salmon Run.
No, for Ernie's, we needed 300 yards of topsoil, and we
And you
needed
need 300
of
yards
fill.
for Salmon Run.
I have no idea how much they
And
need for
that,
Salmon Run.
that donation of loam goes to Salmon Run first.
Right, but they didn't want it.
The Conservation Commission doesn't want this loam?
They wanted it to be screened loam. This loam has been screened, but not to...
This is the 3-inch loam.
Right.
Oh,
This is the 3-inch loam. This isn't the finished loam.
okay. Oh, so there's no finished loam.
No. This
Oh,
is 3-inch
yeah,
screen
3 inch is the maximum size stone down to pebble, so,
Well, they can go 2-inch, I guess.
yeah, it's 3 inch and under, so 3 inch down to pebble.
Okay. So I'm hoping that there's no, and so I was disappointed that there wasn't more, and I'm disappointed that there isn't some left over for Salmon Run. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue. You guys will talk about that Monday when you meet?
Yeah, it's 'cause the savings by getting that loam donated
To the grant.
so that, I think that's the way it will have to be
It's
figured
too
out.
bad that the grant, that topsoil isn't used on Salmon Run, so the grant can pay for the soil on Ernie's, because it's already in the grant.
Right.
Yeah.
But is Salmon Run going to use it?
It's silly that they don't.
Yeah, there's not much. I would think that they would, because there's so much sand in the low spot in there, but I'd have to look at we meet next Monday, so how to figure that out.
Because Rip had told Chuck that whatever was left, first of all, that the grant we can include eligible costs would be for the use of storing that loam on Salmon Run. I don't know what that would cost, but that's an eligible cost. The siltation fence is an eligible cost for Ernie's. And at the end, once they move it, if there's anything left, they would spread it out over on Salmon Runs to reclaim the area that they used. So that was what was offered at that time, thinking that, quantities that we had, but we certainly don't have 1,000 yards.
No, it's about a third of that. Well, probably have to be something that
So
to
you
work
guys
out
talk
next-
about it. I mean, I know the
next Monday
offer
and
of
work it out.
loam was to the Conservation Commission for Salmon Run, and at the time, it didn't appear that the Conservation Commission was going to use it. So we knew that the town could use it somewhere, so that's why we kicked it into high gear and got it.
I think it was the intention of the Conservation Commission to use some of it over there to lessen the amount of the top-quality stuff to fill in low spots. So there might be enough to scatter in a few spaces and to do. It was never intended to a complete top coat.
Right, and as is, what we were using was never intended to be the top
So
coat.
it
We
might-
were going to use
might
it
work
as
out.
part of the fill coat.
Yep.
So if you could let us know, and then let me, and I'll have to let Rip know.
Okay.
And then we got the shoreland permit that's good until 2019. Again, this is for putting in a culvert between where the crossing's going to be on Knapp Road, north of the railroad track, within the railroad right-of-way. And they're going to have to reconstruct some drainage for that water to drain. And again, this is all before it comes right onto the Ernie's property. That's what this wetlands permit is for.
Oh, okay. Towards the track.
So we have to keep this, and Northfield had to do the same. So I will keep this in, give a copy of the Conservation Commission, but I'll keep this in with our earnings documents, because it's good until 19. And we already talked about Gaudette, and this is interesting. We got copy of the driveway permit application, trip generation report. It didn't say what the parcel was.
Bitter and Lane?
It's Bitter and Lane. And remember the owner
Passing Lane.
had come to talk with the board that time?
Oh, yeah.
So they did go forward with talking with DOT. So how long has it been?
Year.
Year and a half,
So they'd have to put in a
it's a
pass?
long time.
They have to put in a passing lane?
Yep.
In order to have a driveway curb cut?
For that business.
Well, no, the driveway cut will be on Bitter and Lane, but for them to add additional traffic onto Route 3 from Bitter and Lane,
If they're gonna put in that business, they have to
they've
have a
got a
turn
turning
lane.
lane. So what does that mean?
Because
We
it
can
does
give them a
get-
driveway permit from Bitter, onto Bitter and Lane, but their traffic can't enter Route 3? That's weird.
John
Still
and I
pursuing this, huh?
have been doing a lot of communication this past week or so on the scree and the bridge debris that's falling on the river and the trail, and thanks very much for that, my box of rocks. Just trying to think now, what am I going to do
I know,
with it?
figure out-
Where am I going to put it? Just leave it at my office?
Did you contact the bridge people at 9030?
Yes, I sent them all the pictures.
I didn't know if they wanted to see the deterioration of their, the metal is just dropping out too.
So I sent them the pictures you sent, I sent them the picture of the box of rocks.
This is the Route 93 bridges. This piece is falling underneath.
There has been for years.
Is actually,
But bigger chunks are falling out from under the concrete deck.
when I was tubing underneath the center section, the northbound lane, or northbound side, left lane, there's a chunk, maybe about the size of this table that's hanging by some of the smaller wire, like this, just sort of like this. Lying back, enjoying it. Oh, shit.
Doc,
And there's
It's
quite a
only,
few.
it's only like hanging by a rebar?
Oh, not even a rebar. It's hanging by the mesh, a piece of the mesh.
the wire,
Chicken wire.
Chicken wire, yeah.
not chicken wire, 6 by
Yeah,
6.
well,
It's big.
to the layman,
6 by 6, number
And-
6.
And
It's deck mount.
also
How
on
long
the
can it
sides and around the path and
Okay.
underneath there, there's also
mesh.
big sheets.
Green.
I can send you forward the pictures I took. There's big sheets,
Until it rusts
maybe
through.
twice the size of this table, that you can see has come delaminated, and there's a space between it. And when I was under there, it was also dripping water through there, so the membrane of the deck's been in, it's not good.
every time I've talked to the DOT for the last 2 years,
I don't know
John,
if you ever
I've
been
brought
stuck
this
in
up.
traffic on that bridge when
The
trucks
bridge is
go over it.
falling, the bridge is falling.
Goes like this.
It's come down on the Winnipesaukee Trail.
Is this 93 on the river portion?
Yeah.
Oh, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been a joke for years when you go underneath there
Right
to,
behind the hotel. You
It
go
rains
down in there and
concrete.
you look up. And also one of the, there's a picture that one of the brace, I don't know what you call it, that holds the whole thing up, there's some big chunks of that that are falling out.
The director, DOT Clements.
They have a
knows.
proposal to do work on the bridges.
They put it on the shelf for
Told him,
possible
kept telling him.
consideration in 2015.
Hazard mitigation. Like if the bridge falls, we
Wow,
got a
they came
serious
before
problem.
us.
fast
Remember?
under
They were
He
going to
did. I don't know
reroute,
if you were there that day,
direct.
but I know
That
I
was-
did.
Was that last year or the year before?
It's about over a year ago, year and a half ago.
2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, the piece that's dangling was not dangling. So,
Every time I go
That's
over
why
that
I-
bridge, I hold my breath.
Just go
Go and
fast.
look.
Just go
It's
fast.
amazing. I think of that place in Minnesota where the bridge went down.
one of the reasons I saved some of the chunks was for them to see that, what the conditions of the material and the wire mesh. And one thing I thought that was very interesting is you can see where the wire mesh comes through the veneer. I'm not sure how they do all this, but they put the wire mesh, and then there's some kind of coating underneath. Well, that doesn't cover the wire mesh. It pokes through, so the underside is exposed metal.
There should be a mat of green steel. And then there should be, typically what they do is they tie a mat of steel. It's a pretty good mat of steel. I've tied them before, it's not fun. And then you pour concrete, and then you lay down sheets of 6x6, number 6, heavy gauge wire, and then you continue the pour.
Now, how about that?
Sometimes there's poly in between, but they discontinued that years ago because they realized that the poly just disintegrates in the concrete and serves no purpose. But the steel and the wire are, we used to call them green steel because they're coated with an epoxy. It's supposed to help to keep them from rusting. That doesn't work either.
Well, the sky is falling.
Okay, let's move on.
Tilton Bridge is falling.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't have
that's
to
it.
pay for
Anyway, he
it.
did go up to do a site visit yesterday at 2, but I was unable to get there for that, so I asked him to please get back in touch with us and let us know.
What do you do, go down the trail?
I have no idea.
Or do you get a boat?
The other thing is we received the contract documents for the Windy Hill Housing Cooperative Infrastructure Study, the CDBG grant, and I had Tim review it, and I went back to the minutes to see, and the board did vote to authorize the chairman to execute any documents which may be necessary to effectuate the CDBG contract, seconded by Selectman LaPlante, all in favor, with the exception of Chair Constantino, who abstained. So I have these documents, but we have to...
Wise move.
We have
No,
to
you're
sign-
still going to sign it.
We have to sign them with Cindy present, because one of the things that held it up last time was the date that she certified that you are who you are and you have the authority to sign was a different date than the date that you signed it. So we have to coordinate that tomorrow. So I don't know if you're around tomorrow and Cindy's around tomorrow. And I'm still waiting for, I have to have a certificate of insurance and also the certificate from our attorney saying that, he'll review the minutes and say, yes, this is legal for her to sign this. And Tim reviewed it, and he
And the
said,
attorney fee come out of the grant.
yes.
I hate lawyers.
And two other quick things. I was reading the minutes from the 26th, and it says that Joe Jessen reported that he inspected Packer Brook and where they pulled out the tree stump, and is concerned that the brook is filled with branches and debris. They left the tree and the branches and the debris in the brook? I thought they cut it up.
And they cut it up, but there's branches in the brook. There was that day I went down, stump is gone, all gone, but branches are now in the brook.
Branches from that tree or from that?
Branches from that tree, they still had green leaves on them.
Okay, because they were supposed to cut that up.
Well, the tree they cut up, but the little sucker branches, because the tree had fallen this way.
Yeah.
And the little sucker trees had started to grow up from the tree, I guess, and they lopped them off before they sawed up the tree. Well, those
they
little
didn't pick 'em
sucker
up?
branches are in the brook. Were in the brook.
They'll clog the culvert.
If you get a really serious rain come down that brook,
Like we did a couple days ago?
well, I don't know, I haven't been over there. Maybe I'll go over after the meeting and see what happened.
Check
Okay,
the Academy
so-
Street where the gas line goes across, that's where they like to get bung up.
Okay,
Oh, good, that would be a pain to clean out, too. I'll go look.
You'll go look?
I'll go look.
And if they are clogging it up, then we need to, well...
I will let you know. Yep.
Because I had called the attorney for the neighbor that was complaining
Yep.
and said that we had taken care of that. We'd pulled it out and
We did.
it should be flowing.
What do you mean, why?
Well, we'll see. There was only a trickle going through there the night I went.
Okay.
All right, and then the last thing is, we did get received the check for Winnipesaukee River Trail for $10,000.
What about the letter?
I don't have a letter, we got the check.
So what do we do with the check?
Right now, it's just sitting in a liability account.
Why won't they send us the letter?
Liability. I don't know, Karen, you're the one that communicated with them. I don't know what you exactly communicated.
And why did they send us $10,000 all of a sudden?
Tim received,
Promised to begin with,
didn't?
remember when we set up the trails?
Yeah, that was like a long time ago.
Catherine's been...
That's what this is. All right, okay. Maintenance fund or whatever it is.
I sent him an
And I
email.
was gone that last week of May, so I've missed 2 selectmen's meetings.
Yeah, I've been meaning to speak to you about that.
I sent him a copy of the letter that he sent.
Have some more chocolate, Pat.
That was sent to Tim, outlining exactly what they needed for a letter. He sent me back and said, thank you, and I emailed him and said, so what's up with the letter? And they sent me one back saying, well, we only meet, was it once a month?
Yeah.
And we're working on it.
Okay, so if you can copy me on that, then I won't sound so
I am
So-
so sorry.
Surprised?
uninformed
did.
when because I did send one email to Eliza. She had something on something. I said, oh, are you guys working on a letter? You know, they're waiting for a letter.
Well,
So that was my involvement.
it's Rick Silverberg that I was communicating with.
Yeah, and he's the chairman.
Yeah, right there. Let's
Okay.
see.
So that's it for me.
That's it for you?
Yep.
All right.
My old pal, Rick Silverberg.
Nope.
Well, so far, we've had a great time here tonight.
John, have you gotten this yet?
Okay, the chief's report.
So Joyce, do you want these documents?
I will shred them.
Okay.
I don't think I could just casually have
Wait a
them.
minute, here, you can have mine.
How do I forward this to you?
I keep one set, not in this personnel file, but I just...
Did you
Well,
find
there
your
should be a PAR.
Well, Tim showed me how to get it onto this, but I can't go there.
This is
found it by
Good,
accident?
you're saving
All
it.
right, is everybody up, listening?
just one set.
Pretty good.
No, but yes.
And let me grab that. So, internal calls for service, to date, we're at about 5608 when I ran it, 5,608. Since the last meeting, we've pulled about 343 calls for service. And so far to date, approximately 3,500 with Belknap. Just some numbers to note, 182 accidents, which is quite a bit. We do a lot of accidents, probably the most in the county. 285 crime reports and 266 arrests. So for half-year stats, they're pretty busy. We have some training we're hosting coming up. Behind the tape homicide and crime scene investigation, July 29 to 31, and then we have FBI leader, IA school, August 18 to 22. The behind the tapes training will be at Tilton School. FBI leader will be at the Hampton Inn.
What is behind the tapes?
It's crime scene investigation, like CSI stuff.
Oh, police line, do not cross.
Yeah, so what goes on behind that yellow tape?
I was thinking,
It's a
recordings, music. I was like,
yeah, and they're both national schools, so we'll be having students come in from around the
I
country.
bet that's
for those.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
Frightening, but interesting.
Who will be attending from our department?
so behind the tape, detectives and the supervisors will be attending the FBI Lita IA school.
Both detectives?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Usually I get 2 free slots, and
Yep.
then everything after that I have to pay
Yep.
when I host, but it's still 2 free slots,
Oh, yeah.
so they can range anywhere from
That's
$6.50
great.
to $7.50 a spot. Fleet's doing good, with some minor light stuff out, plate light, that sort of stuff that the cap's working on with highway to get that resolved. We just
What
put-
about over the curb blowing a tire in a rim?
Yeah, I don't, that
What
was,
about that one?
yeah, I don't, we have a,
We had a bump in the tire which brought up the good tires they run. But we more one tire than bad.
By the looks of it, the chief didn't know about that one.
well, yeah, I knew that one of the tires had a slice in it, we don't.
I heard chunk out of the rim,
And a chunk out of the rim.
according to Public Works.
He said he had to re- he
No,
said he
no
replaced
scrape,
them.
no chunk out of the rim.
Well, that...
I looked at it, yeah.
Dennis says chunk. I think chunk is the word to use, isn't it?
I think he said he replaced the rim.
You replace the rim?
No, that,
I asked him if-
replaced the
I asked him
tire.
if he replaced the wheel, and he said yes.
Yes.
on the lip of the rim. And that is not as bad as the chunk we've had taken off the previous one, so this one is barely touched. So we have 2 rims designated as spares because they had the trunk or a bend the rim there.
How often do we play bumper cars with the police cars? Well, no, we don't actually play bumper cars. How often do we end up with dings and bumps and flagpole dents and, banged up wheels and,
Didn't we take out the pole?
I don't know.
I mean, what happens with these,
We're working on it.
We hooked a chain up to it.
It's gone, right?
Yeah, that was like 2 years.
what happens with these tires, it's been, as long as I've been a cop, you pull into these hot calls of fight in progress, or domestic, or robbery, whatever it is, you're pulling in fast, you're parking up against the curb, but you don't have that, I have all day to park. You're getting in there, you're getting
You
out.
slam on the brakes and
And you-
maybe you hit the curb and okay,
Yeah, so
all right.
it's almost like, it's happened to me, you're pulling in there quickly. Sometimes the curb will slice the tire, sometimes the air comes out, sometimes it doesn't, but we inspect them, if it has a slice, even if it's not losing air, the cap will note it and say.
Is there an incident report written up on it each and every time?
If
Something
someone,
like that happens?
if the officer knows he did it, yeah, absolutely, but if he doesn't know, if it's not apparent, if no one notices the slice, he hits the curb pulling in, and let's just say he doesn't hit it like that, but when he pulls up against it and he parks, that it cuts the tire, if he doesn't know, and we see it in an inspection, we're gonna change it. But anytime they've done anything to the cars, they send it to me, so we keep a record of it. And that tells us, too, that we need to change it or fix it.
They really need to stop bumping into the curb. It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah. But it doesn't happen that often.
I can only account for I know I got the phone call the last time, at 3 in the morning when it happened, but sometimes at night, and the reality is sometimes when you're pulling up to a call, you may turn your lights off, because if you're going up to someone breaking and entering, I think we talked about it too, you're not pulling up with your lights and your siren going, advising them that you're there. So you may be turning your lights off when you're pulling up into the driveway or something like that, and that's just the unfortunate nature of the beast is unless you want to, park a quarter of a mile, half mile down the road, there are times when you turn your lights off and maybe you clip something. And sometimes, yeah, if you whack something, you know that it happened. But there are some times where you might just pull in, you might just hear, it sounds like maybe you ran over like a rock or something like that, and you don't necessarily notice. And, and so it happens, unfortunately, at times. I almost tripped and fell last night because we turned the lights off, pulling up into a place because we're going to a welfare check. And there was a little wadi that had been created from all the rainwater. So something like that could have a sharp rock hanging out.
Well, maybe you misunderstood the whole questioning, my line of questioning. Wasn't so much on tires, although that's how I opened it, is that it's come to my attention that from time to time, town vehicles might take a ding or a dent or be involved in an accident. And I was just wondering if we did incident reports and we have a record log of these accidents and the drivers and the situations and so forth, and if those logs were available to us for inspection.
Yeah, we do an accident report. We don't, we'll have another agency do it. So if an officer gets in an accident with a cruiser, Sammerton might come down and do the report.
You mean like a blown-out wheel or bent wheel where you wouldn't file
Anytime
an
that we have to
accident
make
report, right?
repairs to a car
Some
that's
of these
been in
roads are bad,
something.
and if you guys gotta go 50 up a road, it's got a huge pothole like in front of the veterans.
Muffler comes out.
You'd hit that pothole and blow out your wheels, but that should still be a report, right?
I'm hoping it is,
It's not
yes.
an accident report,
Right.
just a repair.
Incident report, that's all.
It's usually not an incident before. It's usually, dear chief, I hit the curb or I went off the road and this damaged the curb. So there's some documentation. And we know that there's going to be a problem, we can inspect it and get repaired.
Are there some officers who have more of these incidents than others? Does Captain Martin have 50 incidents on his record? Or does he have 0? Is there any way to tell?
I can only answer to, I've only done this for a little while, but, we don't really have anybody that I look at that I'm like, you drive like, a 90-year-old lady going to buy some bread. We have had some officers that have clipped a curb or something like that, and then we take appropriate action, make sure that they weren't being negligent, and, the reality is accidents that happen, but then what we are doing is we're also cycling our officers. First, the ones that have had something like that, just to document that we're taking corrective action, but LGC puts on an advanced driving school, it's a one-day,
What's corrective action?
sending them to this course.
The course he's just
If they're
describing.
found to be negligent, if they were like, I was screwing off and I crashed the car, then obviously that would rise above my level, and then that the chief would
Then it could be written warning to suspension or something like that.
I know of when you're screwed off, and for the most part, it's if somebody, flips a U-turn and maybe catches the lane, because most of the time things happen quite all the time. But I think as of late, it seems like I know of an officer that punctured 2 tires on a curb, and he's being sent to the driving class, and then there was an officer that backed into a car that was in a blind spot to the blue car, unfortunately very hard to see out the back window. He has already went to the driving course, and the sliced tire from the other day, I was off, but I don't think we kind of know where it popped up.
And it wasn't damaged so that, because Northeast Tire was able to fix it, and they didn't say, hey, this is an issue.
I think this is a different tire.
Dennis
This
was
is the
talking
one-
chunks of rims.
It was-
I don't know if we're talking about the
looked at
same
it.
tire.
Yeah, there was no chunk of
I
rim.
don't know.
I actually barely saw the scratch, Ryan had it.
That's why he said cord was showing on the tire where,
The cord, you could see part of the cord when you pull the tire.
Peel the slice open.
yeah, I see.
You know what I mean?
It was scraped, it wasn't gouged.
Okay.
But it was on one of the cars right now.
It's still holding air.
Oh, well, it's safe, right?
No. Captain, I don't have any doubts about your veracity.
Let's move on.
Building, parking, floodlights out. The cap tried to change the bulbs, and so that didn't work, and he's reached out to the electrician who installed them to see if he could take a look at them and see what's going on. It's right by the Sally Port. So, the minor stuff. Some events coming up. August 5th is National Night Out nationally. We've never really done anything for it, but we're going to this year. We're going to partner with Northfield.
What
And,
does that mean, National Night Out? We should all go out on
Yeah, sounds
August
fun.
5th?
well, the theme behind it is all the law enforcement comes out, they set up static
Oh.
displays for the kids. It's supposed to make communities feel safe.
I see, it's a
And obviously-
community day.
Yeah, and obviously some communities really want and need that, that have a lot of crime.
Now,
And-
our police, our schools will be back in session. Do you partner with the schools on this?
I won't be back in
They're
session.
not back in session.
When is it?
No, I don't know. I'm back in the day. Actually,
we-
back in the day,
it's,
they didn't open that early
It's
either.
August 5th, so
September 5th.
we're going to partner each year with Northfield. This year, we're going to do it behind the Union Sanborn School.
Oh, yay.
And
Little
so,
carnival?
yeah, there'll be
Dunk
the
the
bouncy
Chief?
houses, Dunk the Chief.
All right. Really? I'll come down.
Canine demo, motorcycle
How about that
stuff.
captain?
Dunk the Cap.
Dunk the captain.
He looks good with wet hair.
Bring your water wings.
Yeah, so it's...
Please don't give me a visual.
I thought that was pretty good.
That sounds great.
Don't go there.
This is the
Let's-
first time that you've participated in it?
Yeah.
It's
So
nice that we're
August 5th?
partnering.
With Northfield, yeah. So August
Very nice.
5th. So the hours on that are 5:30 to 7:30. We'll be doing a cookout, obviously.
Really?
Really? Yeah, we're
Need a
getting pretty...
burger flip?
We're
What's
getting...
the date?
Did they say?
Yeah,
Union Sanborn.
August 5th, it's a Tuesday night, and that dovetails into August 6th, which is a Wednesday night, which
Wednesday.
is the Senior Center fundraiser at Tilton Diner. With our famous grill chef there.
Yeah, I'll be there flipping
So-
them birds.
So, August 5th, National Night Out,
What
August 6th.
time's that begin?
So August 5th.
5:30.
5:30 to 7:30, behind Union Sanborn School. There'll be all kinds of stuff going on. August 6th, fundraiser for the Senior Center at Tilton Diner, classic car night, cookout,
What time is that?
DJ, that's 6 to 9.
6, yeah.
And I mentioned the last one we did to all the cars to come back for that, and some new car clubs we reached out to.
Bob Brown was here with the nicest little Corvair you'd ever seen.
Oh, yeah, he's in a...
Sweet,
He's in a
really
Corvair
sweet
club.
Corvair.
I don't think I've ever seen a Corvair that I would call sweet.
Jim Lowry and his dad brought down a 39 and a 40 Ford.
Didn't they have the engine in the trunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ralph Nader's favorite.
my grandmother had one.
Was it Ralph Nader?
I don't know, a lot of people died in them.
And,
Unsafe at any speed.
Parked.
Oh, yeah, so it was a pun, yes.
the other thing, too, is we're starting to see, not only in Tilton, but around the Lakes region, when people park their cars and they go hiking or kayaking or whatever it is, car burglaries with abandoned cars. So we're working with other departments on that. We've already got a suspect in one of the cases, but we just want to remind folks, if you park to go hiking, run the trail, kayaking, to not leave valuables in your car, and certainly don't leave them out in where people can see them. But
What if you don't leave anything in your car and you leave it unlocked and the windows roll down? Is that a bad thing?
it's not a crime, but they are going through cars, so I guess
But I mean, if you leave
there's
nothing in it,
there.
at least they're not going to break a window to get in. They'll look at it and
Right.
go, there's nothing in this heat.
Or they steal your stereo real easy, or hotwire your car, or
I think I
whatever.
have to worry about that.
Well, not in your vehicle, maybe, but some vehicles.
Yeah, we had some down in your area, Silver Lake area.
Really?
So,
I mean,
but
if you don't have anything, wouldn't that be an alternative?
it is. But, so, we wanted to get that out there, and, obviously with burglaries, we keep having some surface on the Franklin line, residential, daytime. We're working on some stuff down there on the line with Franklin, but again, if you see anyone suspicious in the neighborhood,
Which segues nicely into any progress on the Franklin line robbery.
I know that by getting the word out there, Channel 9 put it on, we did get a lot of tips and leads.
Tips.
And they put them together, and they're working on it, and it's better than no tips.
Oh, absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
That's all, I can say that this is...
And the victim is recovering?
So, yes, and I've been calling her every couple days. She's doing good. She's obviously had some pretty serious injuries, probably something she'll remember for the rest of her life. It's serious.
Yeah.
We'll go after this guy with every felony we can.
Outstanding.
But, yeah, it was pretty violent. But she's doing okay. She's glad that we call and check on her, and
I think that's a good thing.
her husband is too. And I think Tim had mentioned we're looking at a MDT screen that mounts on the dashboard. Luke was the one that found that, the screen that mounts in the dash. So I guess Moultonborough has one, and Laconia ordered 2 of them. So Tim and I are going to take a ride and go look at that one in Moultonborough.
What are we talking about here?
It's a MDT screen that actually mounts in the dash. So you don't-
Instead of having that
the big
computer
hunk
over
of
here.
steel out there that
Yes.
could tear your legs.
Yeah, I heard about
Are
that.
you seriously thinking about that?
Yeah, I just, obviously, I want to feel it, touch it, see it, make sure.
Where do you get to do that?
Moultonborough.
Moultonborough has
Yeah,
them?
yeah.
Moultonborough.
Moultonborough, yeah. And Laconia just bought some, but
Must have
they
been
haven't,
after Teddy left.
they haven't arrived yet.
Gotta do something with the
But Corporal Canal
houses on the
found that.
lake, where are they
Yeah,
going?
screen that mounts in the dash.
Yeah, it's really good. There's not too many things that I see when it comes to technology that
Do you want to see a picture of
I'm
it?
not big technology.
Let's see.
But,
Have you seen it?
looking at this, it seems
no,
like it's very,
I haven't.
user-friendly, but the biggest thing is it can be done with interior traffic vehicles, especially moving around. The cars only get smaller nowadays, and when you look at all the things that we have inside the interior, you know, every one of those, luckily, I don't think we've ever had an accident or an airbag going on. I know. Since I've been here.
That would be bad on those computers, huh?
Those go off.
For everyone, yeah.
It's kind
Because
of
it could
like-
push that steel
It's kind
into
of
you.
like the liability that none of us ever really think about addressing. Every single one of those things that's in there, especially with side air current airbags and all these things, all those are going directly into the person. And if we ever have, if you ever in the passenger seat, the new computer mounts that we have to have is a bar in your, against your legs, so you have to actually sit like this. And if we ever get broadside on the passenger side of the vehicle, probably their knees are going to
Might as well just kiss your butt goodbye.
and they're not gonna, they're gonna be out of work for years because they're gonna be walking all over the place. So, it really, and then the other thing is when we look at the financial aspect of having to, when the equipment gets pulled out, it's damaged, you know, we have the big feedback, always, you know, put things in that, quite a bit. It takes all those things and kind of really streamlines it through the console. So it's very simple, and I think over the long run, it's gonna stop equipment from getting damaged, like we have all these HDMI cables, we have
How much are they?
radar cables. I believe, I don't want you to quote me on this, it was somewhere from $32 to $3800. We integrate with the computer that gets mounted in the trunk, so it's not hardwired in there, and you can run your radar through it and everything.
If you
Do you
piece
use the same,
It was installed.
in all the pieces,
do you use the same computer you're
That
using
means
now?
we have to do that, we have to buy all new computers.
I believe you can, I haven't actually looked it up.
No, the computer plugs into that.
it goes right
No,
in.
this is in addition to the computers then.
That basically
That
powers what you
computer
already
goes in
have.
the trunk of the car and it plugs in.
So you have your monitor
have
and your
the computer.
keyboard.
Now we have that
It's
too.
the box that
That
goes in the
becomes your
trunk.
screen, touch screen.
Basically, all would
So you
have
don't,
is
you can put the computer under the seat in the
This
trunk,
is what they're talking
so
about.
you get all that stuff out of the cabin.
and then you have a keyboard.
Amazingly, they set it up so you can control your heat controls, AC, radio, lights,
And
everything.
they probably have a voice activation thing where you can say, turn on the siren and turn on the
Computer.
lights. I've seen apps that
Do that.
cars do this. For that kind of money, I gotta imagine that you could talk to the car and the car will talk back.
Would you
54, and it didn't work out.
also have a manual override?
That's because Fred Gwynn was
Yeah, because
driving.
they turn on your light.
Yeah, we actually talked about that, so that you have the ability to turn on your lights and siren if it fails.
Technology fails.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. Because you must be sucking it out of the sky somewhere. If you have a computer, is it what, satellite?
Air card, so yeah, through the sky. And then last thing, just, I don't know if you remember, Catherine, you might, I think you were on the board. Back a few years ago, we did a pod exercise at the middle school.
I was there, health officer, yes.
Yeah, you guys, we're gonna do another one, it's that time. So this fall, we're doing one, so we had our first planning meeting at the Hampton Inn yesterday. So as we get closer, I'll keep you in the loop, but yeah, as a health officer,
Yep, they usually want us there.
they'll want you there, so.
Yeah, please let me
actually,
know.
They haven't picked a date yet, but.
Okay.
We're working with the Lakes Region All Health Network
Yeah.
and Franklin Fire, Tilton Northfield Fire.
If you want me to go to meetings with you, let me know.
Absolutely. And that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
How is the drug crimes? Is it increasing, or are we getting on top of it? Or is that, ha ha ha? Can't put a drug detector at the border?
Well, I can say statewide it's increasing, but I can say that we're doing, as far as comparing ourselves to communities, we're doing real well, putting the cases together, and we have some good ones with the DEA right now. And obviously, it was, last week I went to a symposium. There were 350 EMTs, fire chiefs, police chiefs, doctors from LRGH, a large symposium on heroin, and we talked about it collectively. There was presentations. We learned a lot about addiction. You know, you keep learning more and more about this, and it's not fun stuff to learn about, but it's good for us to know how impactful addiction is and what to expect, and how suddenly it happens. But then we also talked about how much is coming into the state, how are we dealing with it, how are the doctors dealing with it, how's law enforcement dealing with it, and also how is fire and EMS dealing with the overdoses. So it was an outstanding presentation, and kudos, Kevin LaChapelle was part of the team that put it together. It was really put together by the fire side, but I thought they did a great job, and it was just an outstanding presentation. But I think they educated us, but we educated them. It covered heroin and opiate addiction. They had doctors from LRGH get up and do a presentation, and they actually run the drug addiction counseling clinic over at LRGH. And so these docs, like you could tell, Dr. Ascot, you know him? He's very passionate. He get up there and spoke for about an hour, and he knows his stuff. So it was good, but I think enforcement-wise, we're doing the best we can, but it's like Joe and I went to that thing, that stuff's going to keep going, where we partner with everybody and keep roundtabling it. And
What age group does DARE focus on? It's elementary school, is it not?
yeah.
What is there in place for high school, middle school kids, anything?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I hear from that crowd, and I'm ready to homeschool my granddaughter.
Yeah, I know, and that came up quite a bit last week, that, you know, they come up with training programs for SROs to pass it off to the school kids. There were people there from education, I don't know how many, but that, absolutely, your point came up for sure. And so I see more meetings, more training programs, there's money for it.
It needs to be something for that age group.
Yeah.
That's where you need to stop it.
Go ahead, Luke.
From being the SRO, I just know also Don Schimberg and DARE, even back when I had been on the computer, most of us really took that out. Their officers, they would come over to the school, as well as Don Schimberg. And different aspect, they would talk about bullying, and I think they also did talk about that. And then we do the SRO into the health class, which I'll talk about, sexting, sexual type crime, health class, they do a lot of,
When more states, well, states are beginning, I mean, look at Washington, they just legalized marijuana for everybody. But as more states do that, I think the message to stay away from drugs gets garbled. It gets mixed. So, okay, if this drug is now legal, what's the matter with this drug? Maybe this one isn't so bad.
We already have that with alcohol.
And I've had that conversation with a couple of these young people.
educating parents, because school as a kid only concerned about knowledge, I think there's more values.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think our a lot of our teenagers are being raised by their parents, because parents have to work. And the days of mom being home or dad being home raising the kids is far behind us. Both of them have to work in this economy. So I think the street is really what's raising our children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to attack it at all angles, education, enforcement,
But anyway,
counseling, help people, help families.
Give them alternatives. It was true when I was a kid, and I have to assume it's true today, that you want marijuana, the best marijuana comes from teenagers. They know where to get it. And giving them alternatives to that, and Tilton, what is there to do?
nothing.
Kick the toilet paper dispensers off the walls in Riverfront Park, because they do it all the time. And those kind of people need something, the people that would do that need a viable alternative, whether they avail themselves of it or not, I guess, but there aren't that many alternatives. The Pines, the karate thing, and jumping off the railings down at Riverfront Park.
Right.
Good jobs, employment.
Yeah.
A lot of these things with the kids trying to get money to pay for their own places. You know, I can remember being able to afford a place, and now I look at the rent prices, and I would
Oh, my
suspect
goodness.
these kids are selling stuff to try and make money so they can be independent, and they're getting hooked on it.
Right.
Teenagers is a group that society
If we can get good
really
jobs.
ignores. There's a lot of things out there for young kids. The Pines community is out there for young kids. But when you get to be in middle school and high school, this community and the surroundings have nothing for them.
The Pines does some teenager type
Very,
activity,
very few,
but not like they do for the younger children.
very few.
You're trying to
Yeah,
get,
it's
talk to them
directed
about
towards the
that.
younger kids that, once they get to be teenagers, you don't want to go there anymore.
'Cause it's not cool.
The all crew, it's not cool, exactly, yeah. But the,
They have
you know,
boys,
they think of things that all of us like to do when we were in high school.
they have boys
You won't
clubs
use
and
me
girls
as an
clubs, but no
example.
teenage clubs, but, all right.
I had a question about some of the, have they had any problems with the, what do they call them, the synthetic things that they were?
Make-believe marijuana.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
K2 Spice.
Are they still getting that?
We've seen it while working, you know, so we try to educate people on it. I haven't heard of any cases. So,
It's not currently for sale as far as you know.
right, and but like, you know, we're running into people that are buying it in surrounding town. And so, you know, we try to educate those people, and, you know, if they're in violation, then we may something better, maybe education.
I understand there was a federal, at the federal level, they were talking about making laws against this very thing. Is there any headway on that?
Well, the ban that they put in a couple years ago is still in place, so it still is illegal. Matter of fact, a couple of our guys, part of the Clan Lab team, did a big sweep on synthetic marijuana manufacturers in the state. They hit a place in Epsom, they hit a place in Portsmouth. We were part of that, to get that off the street. So they're trying hard. You know, Belmont recently passed the ordinance. The doctors emphasized at that symposium that I went to a couple weeks ago that that's as bad as any drug out there, and don't fool yourself, it is. And he went through the laundry list of stuff that it causes.
Like sniffing glue or whatever,
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
fry your
It
head.
just fries your head. And it is addictive. It does rewire your brain, heart palpitations, paranoia, delusions, the whole deal. And they said, these are medical doctors saying you don't want your kids anywhere near it. So I think we have to stand fast and say, sorry, folks, you can't have it, to the best we can. But the DEA is taking it real serious. They dumped a lot of resources into it this year, and I know just talking to detectives that are involved with it, so I think the ordinance was a good thing. And
Federally, it's not going to help us after all. marijuana is illegal in the federal government,
Right.
but how many states have legalized
Yeah,
it?
two.
And
Two.
Washington State just did,
It was interesting, Dr. Ascot did.
even though it's illegal federally.
There was a THC
That's gonna be
levels
fun.
in it. Obviously, it is addictive now as well. And he said it is a gateway. They both said that. They had some pretty reputable experts get up and talk about that too. He said, there is some possible medicinal purposes for the liquid that they draw off it. He did talk about that a little bit, but he goes, the bad outweighs the good by far. He said there's many other options. So they just kind of reinforce what we always thought.
Well, even in the legal spots, I know that in California, in Washington, they still arrest people for growing pot and selling pot at dispensaries, even though it's legal according to the state, because at the federal level, it's not. And anytime they want to come down and turn your life upside down, they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it ruins families and lives, obviously, so.
What, marijuana?
All addiction.
Well, addiction does, yes, indeed. See, I'm a proponent of legalizing marijuana.
Let's move on from here. We have a heavy,
Boatload of stuff.
we have a heavy agenda here.
Yeah.
Okay. We still have employee evaluation form to go through. We have a non-public, so we'll take the non-public and come back and do the employee form while people are here.
That's sure, one thing.
All right, you
Good
make
with
a
me.
motion, we go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel, police. Roll call vote?
Yes,
Yes.
And we're back.
he just set it aside for you.
I make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public as pertaining to personnel permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
I would like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to public safety permanently.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There is just one announcement. We can forego the minutes and we'll take them up next week. And
It's a book now.
No,
Well,
there's
there's
blank pages
blank
in it.
Oh, is there? I didn't go through them. Oh, yeah. All right.
I just lost what I was going to say. Anyway, we'll get it next. Oh, I know. I personally want to thank Jeannie Forrester for the work that she did for our veterans. Finally, the Department of Motor Vehicle has the software up and running for veterans now, all veterans, so that you can get veteran on your license. If you don't have your license now, if it's not renewable and you want to go down to the DMV, I think it costs you $3 and they'll change your license out with veteran on it, which will get you your discounts at Lowe's and Home Depot and all the other places where they give veterans, and it will include all veterans. As you know, all the veterans, only the veterans that had a medical benefit associated with them were the ones that could get the card that gave them the discounts. And so now it's included with everybody in New Hampshire that was a veteran. You have to show your DD-214s.
So I'm saying, make no mistake, bring your DD-214.
And it's up and running. The law passed a year ago, January 2013, and she's been after them now, and they finally got it up and running July 1st. So, thank you, Jeannie Forrester.
I don't agree with everything that woman does, but I gotta tell you, nobody works harder
I know.
than Jeannie
Right.
Forrester.
Yep.
In my
Have you heard anything about
experience.
DOT and Witcher Street and the drainage?
Did they come back, did Bill Rollins come back with us
I
on
heard from him.
the Winter Street drainage?
Any conversation about moving the safe out of the town clerk's office?
No, and I saw that in the minutes. No, haven't heard back from him.
Okay,
Can we call him?
sure.
Can we give Bill Rollins a call tomorrow and see if,
Okay, now, Bill Rollins, Winter Street drainage, you're talking about from the minutes of the 26th, right?
Yep,
Where you met with Mr.
we
Barrett?
met with him up
Yes.
there.
Okay, all right.
yep,
It was a bigger job than he thought it was.
yep. Right. And then we have, I called the other day to District 3. There were huge potholes out just below the PD. Now, did Dennis get those, or did District 3? District 3 got them?
They got 'em.
Good.
They're Route 311, they're usually very good about filling them in if you let
And
them.
Dennis won't fill Route 3 and 11.
If they're emergency,
If they're
this
emergency,
was
it will.
this deep.
Really?
Yeah, he'll throw
They
gravel.
got one over on 140 that's a car swallower.
We'll call them.
The DOT is
DOT.
now on the job.
Andrew Hosmer's.
Belmont called them.
Yeah, they did.
It was in Belmont.
Oh, I saw the one in the paper?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Okay,
in Tilton.
okay, all right.
fact, it was on
Does
the
anybody
main
have any
Pressing.
pressing?
I have just one thing.
Motion to adjourn.
Damn you, Catherine! Second!
That was a trick.
All those in favor, aye.
Scary, huh?
The motion was made and seconded. Goodbye.
So Jerry, yeah, Joyce, see?